A challenge facing us is the threat of rising sea levels. We decided to investigate what people in Falmouth thought about rising sea levels and how it would affect them. Research has shown that in the last 100 years, sea levels in Cornwall have risen 20 centimetres and are set to increase by 69 centimetres in the next 100 years. To investigate our dilemma, we decided to ask people in Falmouth some questions. The first was, what do you like about Falmouth?
Definitely the landscape and the environment, just being able to come down to beaches like this on the days off, study next to somewhere so picturesque.
Yeah, the beaches, some of them are like they're not even in England, it's amazing. And it's just nice to be able to come down and use them whenever you want.
Even if it was chilling or if we're surfing or whatever, it's just beautiful to be in such a place.
This map shows projections of how varying sea level rises would affect the landscape of Falmouth. This brings us to our second question. Do you think sea levels are rising in Falmouth? For this, we conducted a survey, and the results show an overwhelming proportion believe that sea levels are rising in Falmouth. We next asked a question giving a scenario of how rising sea levels could affect Falmouth and how people felt about these effects.
Really how much it had changed, whether there was still a town to visit. I mean, I love the coast, I love coming, spending time by the sea, so...
Go get here and come down here. Hopefully it'll be different.
Well, we come from the coast, we come from Lower Scotland, staying here,
That's the same.
and we've got the same problem there. You know.
Yeah, it's a lot flatter up there as well,
Yeah.
so it's going to affect more up there than down here.
Finally, we asked, how do you feel about sea level rise?
Not a great thing.
No, well, considering that this is the main beach in Falmouth, and this is the boat, then you have to travel further, I guess, to get to the beach as well. Just a case of coming down.
Or some local knowledge, Flushing, I believe, will become a victim of some coastal loss. It really isn't a factor in actually visiting Falmouth itself.
As the Environment Agency stated, areas such as Swampore are at significant risk of flooding. We interviewed some experts on rising sea levels about the causes and effects it will have on Falmouth's coastline. They also gave their opinions on our findings and what should be done in the future.
The oceans, as we've got global warming, much of the energy goes into the atmosphere, but some of it goes into the ocean, and that then the oceans warm up and they then expand. So that's called steric sea level rise. And then there's other contributions to sea level rise at the moment, and that is much of that is caused by melting of small glaciers and mountain ice caps.
Something like Swampole is that it's a gravel bar that has dammed up a valley behind it. As sea level has risen, it's pushed the bar on land and then it's stabilised.
A rare, say, storm event, much more common. So, for instance, if you have a very damaging storm which floods part of Falmouth or parts of the surrounding coastline, and that might occur, say, once every 200 or 300 years. Of course, with rising sea levels, the frequency of that reduces, so you then get a 1 in 50 year event. So that means your 1 in 200 or 300 year event is much bigger. So it changes the potential for damaging effects on the coastline.
The cost of defending with hard defences is very, very expensive. The main thing is if you have to do something, that you build it high enough that you don't have to come back for 50 years, because in theory...
This research has led us to question whether growth and conservation really are incompatible. Public consensus suggests that prolonged sea level rise is of little concern to people in Falmouth, as it does not alter their opinions towards where they live or visit. In this instance, future growth could still happen. However, scientists' dynamic understanding of complex interactions within marine and coastal environment makes it more difficult to predict how rising sea levels will affect Falmouth's unique ecosystem and benefit humans gain from it. In a twist on our original dilemma, should we not focus on aiming for growth with conservation?